Where's my... Hello. Hello, if anyone is around. I am looking for the chat. I wonder... it's not opening window I was hoping for. Is it streaming? Is it streaming? I guess that's it. That is a maximum delay, yeah. So anyway, let me light an incense and we'll start. So welcome everybody. I'm Adi. There's a little echo. This is the first stream I'm going to do about the role-playing game I'm designing at the moment. I'm Fringe Worlds. This is a little one-man, more or less one-man business at this point. We have a couple partners who've volunteered to help in the early steps of the development of this game. This is a what I call a mythic space fantasy game, role-playing game, tabletop role-playing game. So we are talking old school dice and paper, though I hope to also implement a virtual tabletop version of it. It's hopefully releasing in 2030. So this is really the beginning. I've been working on that full time for a year now. We went through many versions already of the core resolution mechanic. I think I've got something good going at this point. I think it's V5 already, and we're when the what I call the pre-alpha phase. There is a group that I run locally in my role-playing game club, where we play test the current build. This is going well. This is very helpful. It's a bunch of teenagers from West Ireland, where I'm located at the moment. and it's great to have their feedback and to even design on the spot things like talents, for instance, because that's what I wanted to talk about today. I think I am a messy enough person that would fit the format of live streaming. So we'll see how that goes. If I like it, I'll do more and take you on that journey, relating the ebb and flow, of what is it to design a role-playing game. Yeah, I have some role-playing game experience back behind me, but this is I've discovered that in the late 80s and stuff, and played and GM'd, but this is really the first, my first book. So it's called Mon. Mon is the name of this imaginary world. It's a planet, and Mon has gone on spiritual lockdown, meaning that no one can escape her domain anymore by any sort of magical interdimensional means. Spaceship, the technology, the knowledge of space travel has been lost by those who arrived on the planet. There's a whole series of landings and colonization and by various species from outer space, and they had a hard time over the millennia to get along, and they're making war. Yeah, we know something about it ourselves here down on planet Earth. But they brought that so too far and too many times, and the planet has the planet is a she has a soul, and she's had enough. She's entering lockdown. So as a form of form of rebellion, she's saying, you find a way to make peace with each other, or you mutually destruct and take me down with you. I don't care. It's a world filled with loads of exotic and various magically altered landscapes. We have Neanderthal people, I call them the Golog. We have dinosaur people, we have dinosaurs. We have all sorts of mutants. All have roots in one form of humanity or another, either sapiens sapiens or Neanderthal. So you always, even if you play a mutant, originally Golog or Amayan humans, you still are a variation on something we can relate to, right? I wanted that to make the game more feel closer to us, right? So each species is a variation of some kind of archetype, is a representation of something we could embody, right? But then taken to its extreme, put in the format of fantasy, right? Space as well, because there are cosmic entities that cults worship, and they have a big role in the setting. And mythic, because it's a hero game based on our own mythology, our own archetypal sort of constructs. And it's you have a devotion mechanic where you follow a road and you seek a drive, and so those are strong sort of like motivators for characters, for the characters you role play in the game. The goal of the game is goes along with the tagline. I guess I'll go with the tagline that's kind of like something to do Mon, the cost of price, right? Cost of price, or Mon, peace maybe, but at what cost? Yeah. So the cost of peace. Yeah, what did I say? The cost of price. So tonight I want to do a little rundown on what talents kind of like I had in mind, and I wanted to design for player characters. I want to take you through the various stages I went through, how I began to design talents back in the days, and how these previous designs are not relevant anymore because the core engine of the game has changed. So, but this work that is about to be discarded still feeds, present days still feeds my my vision, and where sort of an exercise in style, right? But as you'll see, there is much has changed, and the context in which those talents are going to be used and presented is changed as well. So let's have a look. So what is a talent? Yeah, what talent are supposed to do in the game? We have your character is of a certain species, right? You're either an Amayan, so a human, a Golog, Neanderthal, a Zish, half Neanderthal, half dinosaur. We call the dinosaurs Gicht in Mon. A Zamayan, which is a mutated version of an Amayan. A Zulog, which is a mutated version of a Golog. And a Zaish, which is a mutated version of a Zish, a dinosaur Neanderthal hybrid. The three Z, the Zulog, Zamayan, and Zaish, have 6 subspecies each. We have 6 cultures for the Amayans, 6 cultures for, 4.5, 6 cultures for the Golog. 2 main cultures for because Golog and Z share 2 cultures which are kind of outsiders. So 4 main cultures for the Golog, and so 6 subspecies for each of the Zyadak, I'll call them, the mutants. So all in all, plus 3 extra cultures for the Amayan. Right, so that's 37, that's 6 species, 37 ancestries. Adding to that, so that's already, here already when you, at character creation, you've got to pick your species. One of the main concern I had when I designed those was to make all major actors of the setting playable. So there could be really all sorts of campaigns could take shape depending on what kind of individuals are forming the players group, right? Do we want a campaign? Do we want to be playing those fanatics? Do we want to play those other fanatics that are at odds with the first group? Do we want to play like more cultures that are pacifists? Do we want to play reactionaries? Do we want to play progressists? All sorts of things, yeah. And of course, there are loads of politics involved between those species, subspecies, ancestries, cultures, and they all come with their quirks, right? There's still a lot to do, a lot of work to do with those on the prose, the writing aspect of some of their core beliefs and traditions and customs and taboos and you name it, and architecture and music, arts, whatever, warfare. So, because it's back and forth at this stage of the development, there is when there is a mechanical sort of like hiccup, when I find a bug in the game engine. Sometimes I can fix it. Sometimes I discard the whole part. Sometimes that brings the whole engine to a failure and to a new iteration, a new version. But when that happens, when there is this mechanical bug, this stage in development, that sort of like frees my mind. I can't focus anymore on the lore, right? And sometimes, so I need to fix those things to be at peace in my mind, so I can go into that zone and focus back on the setting and the lore. And sometimes when I'm in the lore, I purposefully avoid going back touch the mechanics or develop the game system, because I want to stay in that zone where it's the lore, it's that other world, and I need to immerse myself into that space, that vibe. So those are because the game engine is still not in fully in place. There is and so it's not exactly part of the setting, yeah, because game mechanics are part of the setting. They are meant to emulate a certain experience, a type of a feel and atmosphere, and they are meant to be suited to what you want the game to be about. So one thing informed the other, back and forth. So this is still I'm still at this stage. Most of the species have been designed. Most of the ancestries are secured. I'm still going through details for most of them, but there's a big chunk of them. I think I have still like 8 out of the 37 to really develop seriously on a foundational level. But we're getting somewhere. We have loads of role play opportunities that are showing up when we look at how these ancestries can interact with themselves and with the environment, because the planet is the main actor. The setting, the world is the hero, right? This is Mon. This is what is going to happen to that planet. What is the fate of that planet, right? So the world, there will be mechanics for the discovery phase. There is the drifts as well. The way, like the same in the same way, species have mutated. The landscape has mutated too, according to the same sort of like principles or paradigms that were brought over by the Zia. Those quote-unquote demons, those space invaders from other dimensions that ended up as well trapped and tricked on this planet. There's the whole story behind. They made a deal with the sorcerer. Of course, there are sorcerers, dark shamans, and all of that. So we're talking medieval, medieval fantasy as well, with a hint of sci, a hint of space in it. So so the landscape was altered as well, and there are 6 Zia. They created 6 variants of the Amayan, 6 variants of the Zish and the Golog, and 6 variants of the native landscapes, right? And the native landscape is made of landforms, your basic hills, mountains, and desert, and you name it. And each of them has 6 sort of like variants with crazy supernatural sort of like effects and whatnot. So talents, you design talents to fit the game mechanically. On one side of things, you want talents to be cool. I mean that They make you feel the game mechanic more intensely. I don't know. They make you relate to certain aspects of the mechanics. They give you an edge. You find your niche. You begin to sort of like min-max your playing approach to to the mechanics, and talents give you sort of like anchors, onto the game system. But as well, they're meant to symbolize, represent, emulate what the classes are made of, right? And those classes are fitting the setting in a certain way. They are meant to represent certain types of certain archetypes that were built in a way that they are the product of the setting, the lore. Everything must be tied together. And when you design talents, when I actually at least design talent, that is what I think. That is where I am now. It's that step where I say, how do I make it so that they are mechanically interesting and fun, and give each player something to play with on top of the core system, right, of the core engine. But as well, how they tell more about the world itself, how these talents help us to refocus, spotlight certain aspects of the world. There is a genre as well. Like we are into we said mythic space fantasy, so mostly fantasy, mythic. So they are. I want as well to pay my respect, pay due to the tradition, right? So certain mechanics, the classes, the subclasses, and the talents will. I intentionally design them in sort of like vanilla, with the vanilla flavor that really like just it's the heritage, right? It's what we understand. It's common knowledge, right? I don't know, like cleave through, berserkers, rage, those kind of things. Like, so, but at the same time, like I'm coming up with exotic species with a new original lore and stuff. So I have through talent, I can as well tell their story, right? I can disclose reveal what these people, these exotic people, are made of, good at, enjoy, are obsessed with, talented at and stuff. So there's a lot of talents are a central part. There are many, and no part is in a game engine should be optional, right? Well, yes, they could, but the core should, all parts within the core should relate to each other and should be essential to it, right? They all contribute to that core, and without one of those parts, then it's another game, right? So talents have that in they are they're center between mechanics and lore, and that is what I'm working on at the moment. So there were previous versions of the game. What do we have here? Where I wanted to go into this. Let me general talents v2. General talents v2. Like you can see the title, like, do we even need these? I'm at that stage where what do I want to do with that game, how are we going to use the game systems, mechanics to tell a story? Do we need, and more tools is obviously not necessarily the best thing, but at the same time you want a minimum of, you want a certain minimal interface, right? It's how many buttons players will be able to push. And I'm still at that phase, even 1 year deep in development. I'm still asking myself, do we even need talents? Would no talent make for could that make for a better game? But then there's this whole thing of like, when you come in as a player, you want support, you want tools to help your imagination take off. So you still want a minimal interface, right? Still want something as well. Why would you make classes and subclasses if they don't have if they're only like +1 strength or plus whatever, like you differentiate them just by tweaking a bit their core attributes. Okay, I guess I think I want something a bit more granular, right? Because we have classes, warrior, warrior, scout, mediator, a mystic, and each of them has 3 subclasses, right? So we have 12 subclasses. You have the brute, the defender, and the warlord for the warrior class. You have the rogue, the hunter, the spy for the scout class, the merchant, the diplomat, the lawkeeper, the mediator class, and then the mage, the shaman, and the priest for the mystic class, right? So, or what I could do a full stream on just that, like why those classes? It's like we said, like we are here, we're paying as well a tribute on OSR, I don't know, but old, OS, old school, the classics of literature and role-playing game literature. And we have those. I came up with those 4 sort of like essential, sort of like roles, right? Your class, your subclass is what you do, right? We have in the game we have devotion with the road and drive, where the road is how you do things, your drive is why you do things, but your class is actually what you do, what you do, how and why. Those are really the main descriptors of putting a character together in Mon. So it's one of the questions I have at the moment, for instance, is how many talents per entry, right? Because we have the species, like I mentioned earlier, we have the Amayan, the Golog, the Zish, the Zamayan, the Zulog, and the Zaish. So that's six basic species. How many talents do I want for each? I went with 3. For now, it's 3. But 2, maybe, like we have games like Forbidden Lands. You pick a whatever they call it, a kin, right? Your kin, equivalent of your race, your species. You have one kin talent, and that's it. And off you go. Then you pick your class. You have 3 talents per class. And then you have magic spells, which are sort of like talents in their own rights. And general talents. So all you have to play, you get to play with it. You have 1 species talent. By default, you get it at the beginning of the game. Then you pick 1 out of 3 talents, class talents, and then 1 general talent. So you start Forbidden Lands with 3 basic talents, more or less. Yeah, it depends. There are options to get more or less or whatever. Less at a higher rank, for instance. here, I don't know. I went for three per species, 3 per ancestry. So we have 37 ancestry, right? So 6 species, that's already 8, that would be 18 talents. 37 ancestries times 3, that's what, 111 or something like that. Then classes, warriors in general could have up to 3 talents, let's say, you know, each of the classes. And then each subclass in turn also would have access to 3 talents, which I think, I mean, it's awesome. If you have the choice, would you go to, you know, to be more, to diversify your species talents? You know, if you had the choice between 3 different, you know, would you diversify more your ancestry, your culture, subspecies sort of like aptitudes and talents? Would you go and try and be a round warrior, you know, where you sort of like you focus on upgrading class talents, or do you want to go niche and upgrade, you know, focus on upgrading subclass talents? So loads to explore. Eventually, it becomes a lot quickly, like, you know, 6 species, 37 ancestries, 4 classes, 12 subclasses, times 3. It's many talents, not even including Zyadac innate powers. Those mutants have innate powers. Do I want 1 innate power per Zyadac? Do I want 3? Magic skills, right? Spells are function, I think we could categorize them as some kind of variation on talents, right? So spells, we have mages, shaman, and priests. They will come up with their own subsystem of magic subsystem. I really want the mage, shaman, and priest to play different. Again, a full stream could be, many streams could be going just on that topic. Yeah, I'm not going to expand on that, but so, you know, species, ancestry, class, subclass talents, Zyadac innate powers, mutant powers, spells, and another question, on top of this, on top of all of that, do I need general talents? And as I see the game engine evolving, it's sort of like being refined, you know, versions after versions. The more I see that, in fact, I don't think I want general talents. I think they general talents in the sense, because I have a category that is going to be called general talents, and I'll introduce that to you to that. But general talents in the sense, you know, like I don't know, fishing, or, you know, like I don't know, keen eye, you know. Okay, anyone could have keen eyes, you know. But talents that really, in fact, are sort of like they could be the same in any game, or they really don't tell anything really original or specific or really niche about that class or that ancestry. So the more it goes, the more I'm thinking, yeah, possibly no general talents needed. Yeah, as I was just saying, yeah, do we even need these? Here was latest version. There was a version. I was still thinking about that. Yeah, well, I will take you through sort of like more or less the logic behind designing talents from where I was. Like so we can see together what I'm looking for at this point in time in development. So this is my Notion, right? I work on Notion, so you can see that there is a lot of pages open on all sorts of topics: domains, slaves, and the mark of Ra, sanctuaries, Kaon, Xeon, the twin powers, the moon cults, sky cities, the edge walkers, the memory, the gladiatorial arenas, the sea of skull, the fortune's will, all sorts of things. Then, game mechanic, we have downtime, endeavors, influence. All this is I cannot imagine if I was working on paper how my room would look. How my where I work would really like. So all sorts of entries, the book design, book layout, tables and charts, GM screen, you name it, the history of Mon, species, culture, calendar, moons and sun, the 4D material, which is the guy who made the deal with the Zia when they arrived on Mon, the cosmos, all sorts of just, core rules 4.0, combat rules 5.0, and this is already outdated. Most of the game design entries here are need a complete revamp. Character creation, skirmishes, battle, clashes, magic skills, the bestiary, equipment, social interactions, just so much cool stuff. I mean, I'm bathing in that full time every day, 12 hours per day or all year long. Book design, Mon logo, the tagline. So as a game designer, it's I guess every game is different. I went for something that has subconsciously grown over the years, and now I wanted to go for something big from the get-go. I am edging towards simplifying the game mechanics, for sure, thanks to the playtesting, but which for the sake of a bigger game, in fact, for the sake of a more a richer lore, right? So yeah, just here we have I don't know, thousands of pages of documents of research, of exploration, experimentation, and all of that. So never mind. Just wanted to make you give you a little tour of what my space looks like and what interface I use to experiment with ideas. Spike and Height engine. This is the latest game engine at this point. We will talk about that in a moment. This is where I am now, and but I want to take you through sort of like the journey of designing talents in the earlier days, right? So when I was doing that list, I had not yet even settled on and had the idea of scene scales. Scene scales is going to be Mon's tool to help take the narrative to higher scopes, to higher perspectives, broader scopes. Because the basic idea is, how do you make a game able to tell stories that can go high and far, right? And we don't spend more time, because most games, epic games, like if you take an epic campaign, it would take very long, because you always are at that first person, you always address the world from that first person perspective. I'm not critiquing here. I love it. I enjoy very much first person role play and be to be immersed, to be there from that sort of like claustrophobic angle. But if you do everything like that, and you've got to roll to push every door, and to jump every chasm, and and do everything, and you roll every time to do to go small increments by small increments, your epic campaign is going to last a lifetime. And honestly, that would be like maybe half a book, not even a complete book. Or if it's a full campaign, well, it would be one book. But it would take you 20 years to read the book. So how do we get free of that? How do we give ourselves the means, the right to tell the story from a broader, angle, point of view? And I came up with this idea that we need. It's nothing. It's not nothing groundbreaking, but the dice are possibly are the key, or one of the key, are the lever, one tool at least. And how much stakes you put behind a single die roll, right? So this is where, like, do you want to roll to push and open the door? Can you manage to break the door open? Roll. Can you manage to tour the village and hire 20 men to go on that quest in the Dragon's Cave? Roll. Can you manage to enter the city, free the princess, exit the city, and thanks to her, make a revolution happen? Roll once. You've become emperor or the king or whatever, member of the High Council, and you're moving armies, and there is a sky monster invasion. They are threatening the entire realm. You move your assets. You have the faith of a demigod, and you want to counter that space invasion. Roll once, or once, or at least it's a skill endeavor, with a certain number of bands, possibly, but at least one. The idea is behind one roll, a single die roll of a higher scale, you have an entire endeavor at the lower scale, right? And one of these bands of these scales is itself an entire endeavor of the scale below. Understand? So I think there is a I won't go in the subtleties to that, to how you upscale, how you descale, why, etc. There is an economy. Your power, which is made of influence and treasure, are the currencies. Power is the currency with which you upscale to intensify the pressure. To crank up the stakes behind every single die roll. So that's where the game really become mythic, right? Because you're really telling the stories of people who have what it takes to tell, to change, to do world-changing things, right? So first, I didn't have that in mind. I thought I'm going to achieve the epic feel for the game by creating an exponential difficulty curve. I thought, we'd have demanding, challenging, master, incredible, formidable, and amazing. Formidable, incredible, amazing. The curve was crazy when it went from 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, right? I was like, then I had to invent like a very. Then that's where it's going to take us. That was the context of designing talent for V1. So I had to invent a dice system that would scale with that exponential curve. We had dynamic difficulty rating depending on mutual. If you're an expert, your difficulty is lower, and you make the difficulty of someone less experienced higher. You know, there was this dynamic difficulty that scaled, so you'd have you could find yourself against like crazy TNs, like target numbers. Then I had to like find ways to make the dice explode, so we could actually reach those crazy target numbers. The base system then was made of 1d12 up to 3d12s. Pick the best, or the sum of matches if it's best of any single figure, and up to 6d6s or 3. I eventually had to tune in down to 3 dice. And then you are looking for the highest. You keep the highest, pair the base attribute and your attribute die. What was it? Your base die and the skill die. You pair those, and that's your result. You know, you pair those matches, if matching dice if they are there, and you could reach very high, but on like that those were very rare spikes, you know, very like oh my god, you know, like the probabilities were wide, like you'd have like in 1 in 400,000 things like that. So go balance a game like that, you know, go balance a game. It was with the versions, it became it went through various versions. It became very granular, very intense when it came to like what you could achieve with it. Like the intricacies of navigating the systems were amazing. But that ended up in something that really required just so many. The load, the cognitive load, was just over the top. Not even for me who designed it. And playtesting that at the club proved me that I could make a system that is simpler, lighter, while still respecting the lore, the setting, and the atmosphere and the goal of the game. So those first talents were designed before the scene scale system. So they're all, and like in most games, like if you look at Forbidden Lands is over there, but it's one of the clearer examples. I'm not accustomed to D&D, so you would tell me, I don't know how they designs their talents, but here, for example, we have Coriolis, and all these talents, I've not read them all. Yeah, I didn't read the book completely. But all these talents are like creature level talents, right? It's what you do when you're face to face with an issue, problem, or you know, like you have Blade Fighter, rank 1 to 3. You get +1 die per talent level to close combat rolls when fighting with blade weapons. So first, it's not very like it's bleak. It's bland. You know, it's like, okay, I'm a blade fighter. That's the only poetic information you get from it. There's no. I understand that, you know, like why would you write a poem about every aspect of the game? But I think I want to design talents that give you a bit more info about what they are rooted in, right? Like you have another talent here about bowman, rank 1 to 3. You get +1 base die per talent level when firing a bow or crossbow. So how is that? I mean, it's cool in the sense that like they make it fit their game engine. It's a very streamlined game engine. We know the Year Zero engine. Okay. But then like Defender, you get +1 base dice per talent level when blocking close combat attacks. Again, like it just does what is written on the tin, or not on the expression, but no, that's not the problem here, but is that what I want to emphasize here is that all those talents are designed not to scale. Like it's not even in most games. The question of scaling, upscaling, scene scales and the scope of the narrative and more stakes behind a single die roll. It's not even part of the 90%. I don't know. Most games, most role-playing games don't address that. No, some do very well already. So there's nothing revolutionary here, but the application possibly will be, I think, is quite original. But so I will show you a couple examples of what I was designing when I was in this mindset. I didn't know that I want the game to scale narratively. I didn't know yet that was going to be possibly the most important mechanic of the game. So what do we have here? If you can see, yeah. Bold move, a minor talent, as many times per session as your talent rank. Before making a check where your base difficulty is above your base attribute, you may declare a bold move and forfeit the right to reroll. If you pass, so you give up the right to reroll, and if you pass that check, you gain either one willpower, or one road, one devotion, 1 point of devotion, some kind of like, it's not really meta currency, it's your devotion. So, voilà, we have that. And here it says nothing about, on top of that, all the descriptions here, they barely have any sort of like, there is no lore input. It doesn't say anything of, they were really meant to be general talents anyway. But here we can see that there is no indication that this talent could scale, or whatnot. What do we have here? A typical one, like Swift here. Major Scout. So this was already a later version where I was establishing categories for talents. So these would in fact not really be general talents. In fact, the page became a listing for all sorts of talents, and that was my go-to page to just register new IDs when it came to talent. So what did we have? Swift, Major, Scout. When speed is of the essence, whether to react instinctively to a sudden accident or simply to run at full pace, gain 1 might, which was the equivalent of 1d12. Gain 1 might to your check per rank in this talent. So here it's reacting to a sudden, so that could be scalable, but it's basically the way you'd interpret that is, as a creature you are swift, and voila, you're swift as a creature, and there's no and you gain, and the effect is, it's sort of like very generic. You gain +1 might, per rank in this talent, just for running, be fast. So nothing wrong with that, but depending on the what are we talking about? For what game is that? In what game is that presented? Is this a button that is going to have like more impact than that? Role-playing games are amazing because you can always come up with like a talent that unexpectedly will work in all sorts of in a situation you've not expected, and it's hard to make generalities on anything. But like you have another one like Nimble, Nimble, Major, Scout. So Major at the time I had decided that general talent would be accessible to everyone. I still like this idea, but whatever, it doesn't fit anymore. General talent were for everyone. Minor talents were for the classes, and major talent were for the subclasses. And so you see, not every there would be there was a tree like that, some kind of talent tree. And here with nimble, so it was for scouts. Oh, and scout is a subclass. It should be no, scout is a class. You see, I don't know where I was at here. So nimble, major scout. When making an agility plus athletics or survival, or the relevant check involving nimbleness, flexibility, acrobatics, balance, or coordination, gain 1 might per rank in this talent. So does not apply to your mount if you're mounted. Same effect, same generic basic bonus. A bonus to your dice roll, meaning roll more dice. So meaning increase cognitive load, and meaning does just the same thing, but for another dice roll, for another pairing, attribute plus skill. So basically the exact same talent. We're talking exact same talent, but with different, it addresses, other attributes or skills. But there were some of them were cool. Like you have, there is a mechanic of there's endurance in the game. When you do exertive stuff, when you go through exertion, you're hit with fatigue, and for every point of fatigue, you would lose endurance. When you run out, endurance, but in the previous engine, not anymore. Endurance was also added to your armor. There was a much more granular health point system back in the days. Now I've streamlined it to health bands, and there is a lot less of them, etc. But if you lose endurance, so you lose AP, you lose armor protection as well. So there was a tension like that. So how long are you willing to fight? Losing 1 point of endurance every turn. So losing protection. When do you get eventually exhausted? And when you get exhausted, you've lost your endurance. You start to lose willpower. And for every round, you push, you exert yourself beyond, your limit. And when you you go to 0 endurance, then you get a disorder, a derangement of sort. So I'm still going to keep some of this, the endurance aspect, the exertion, the importance of sort of like managing effort and stuff, and of course disorders. So with rapid recovery here, a minor talent, general, minor, major, epic talents also would have different XP costs, right? So you have to as well have that in mind. There's the whole XP economy of the game, right? How much do you want to reward the players per session? How much do you, or what kind of, how fast do you want the progression to be? Accordingly, how expensive or cheap do you want upgrades to be, etc. Which is an incredibly satisfying part of the design, I find, for myself. I love the just tweaking XP cost and stuff. I don't know. I'm like, because I'm a player also, and I know the thrill, of going shopping, So rapid recovery, add +1 to your endurance per rank in this talent for the sake of calculating your recovery rates. Okay. Only for not for the resisting exertion, because it's rapid recovery, but for the sake of recovering from wounds. Yeah. Now we'll have 3 types of wounds. We'll have minor, major, and critical wounds, and the recovery rate will depend on depends on endurance. So I will keep that, and you recover faster the more endurant you are. And with this talent, you would recover even more fast. So, yeah. But well, look again, a talent that has no, it affects only you. It's taken for, you have to take it at face value. It's what it is. It's what's written on the card. It does nothing else. It has no, it's not rooted in the lore, and it's creature level stuff. What do we have here? That could be a good example. The perspicacious major mediator. You smell lies like rotten meat, the incomparable smell of deceit in the mouth and demeanor of the meek. You read the mark of the heart of people. You read the mark on the heart of people you are dealing with, like an open book, discerning whether they speak the truth or hide it. So gain -1 base difficulty per rank in this talent on perception plus empathy checks to determine if your interlocutor is being genuine or not. Okay, so you're insightful. Yeah. If the target has mastered the closed book talent, closed book talent, I need to keep that title. You see, there are so many things in this is past design, right? This is year old, 9 months ago design. All sorts of talents that I came up with. So the closed book talent. The target has mastered the closed book talent. The minimum quality of success for this kind of checks is it's usually equal to the target's base attribute +1 in their rank in that talent, but even against such individuals, a mere success will reveal the truth to you. Still reveals the truth to you. Okay. So here, like for example, this talent, it does this in this particular instance, and you have that edge in a very restricted circumstance, and it's again something that it's you as a creature. It's not something that could scale. How? Well, we'll have to see. We'll look later on at how we can make, and really that's something that I'm going to explore with you on the spot, because I'm at this stage in development. How do we make talents that scale with upper scale narrative? And then there is a closed book. Then we had all the weapon, like typical of that sort of design for talents. It's like weapon master, hammer hand, bow master, throwing arm, sword master, axe hand, spear master, halbardier, skull crusher, knife expert, weapon specialist, hard hitter. So all those, they generally, they give you, for example, hard hitter, but you gain 1 weapon damage, right, per rank in this talent. So, but if we have, that's, again, all these are just a creature-centric, and they work. But you could have like we could imagine talents like networking, right? Where or they could be like the equivalent of backgrounds in World of Darkness, right? Where you have a flow, contacts, allies, some kind of networks, a domain, and all of that. Yeah, there are many ways role-playing games are addressing upscaling in general. Like the wider scope of narrative, and but eventually, in most cases, or there are all sorts of variants of that. In most cases, you roll for yourself when you to push the door open. And it's local. And the talent doesn't have that it applies only to that sphere of influence, if you know what I mean. So I think I'm gonna leave it at that for that stage of development. That shows that I don't know what do we have. There were some good ideas there, talents that would do it, do what they do, and that's it. Cosmopolitan, major mediator, Accents, fashion, slang, and obscure customs, no detail of community's idiosyncrasies escapes your notice. You make a point of learning every language you encounter and remembering every tradition you witness. You're a true citizen of the world. Gain a base attribute +1 per rank in this talent whenever you check land lore. That's before I had because I would say more like folklore. Now we have the skill folklore. Yeah, that would be folklore. Anyway, I just edit it just for the sake of it. So also once per scene, you can move the default reaction level of an NPC 1 degree and for free, from neutral to suspicious or curious, from curious to friendly or neutral, etc. Is there, and here I'm asking myself, it's funny, is there a social interaction rule about reaction levels? I guess that's something, it could be helpful, you know, some GMs, they don't like to figure everything out in advance, or they are not ready to improvise on the spot everything always. And you have a creatures, monster, NPC reaction level by default, or you can mini table. You randomly determine if they're curious or suspicious. You know, neutral. It's a good little tool. I guess I could still try and see if I could develop something around that. Social interactions, I think there are four main kind of challenges. Yeah, four main types of challenges. These are social interactions, armed conflict, general scene endeavors. Right, the world is the creature. You're trying to go through some kind of obstacle. And travel. I think those are the four main type of challenges that I will be articulating the core mechanics and the core core resolution system around. There, and the way these four scale with the scene scales is amazing. When I'll do a stream on that, I can't wait even to play test it. This is all more or less theoretical at this point, but the potential, I mean, it's just too compelling an idea, and the way I think I'm implementing that into the engine is gonna be amazing to play. So, but more on that, I don't want to talk about everything and nothing at the same time. Let's go back to there was one about indefatigable. Burst after burst, you can push through exertion forever. This talent adds over here. This talent adds +1 per rank in this talent to your wind rating. So you would get your wind depleted before you get your endurance depleted, before you get your willpower depleted, through exertion as you gain fatigue. So example, if your wind is 3 and you have indefatigable rank 2, your exertion tracker becomes 5-3, 5 wind, 3 endurance. Will that term, and here I'm asking myself, I love to see this, I always put it in pink when it's a thought. Will that term of exertion tracker stay? No. 1 year later, no. Telling you it didn't stay. So more or less that's the way I was in the format of the talents as I designed them back in the days. Before when I was trying to fit the exponential curve and a game that is a creature sort of the creature sphere oriented, right? The creature level, the creature scale is still very much part of Mon. I will, of course, most games will start at that level, but until you accumulate enough power to upscale and try and roll to have each roll have more impact, and so tell the story of more people, right? Of your squad, of your warband, of your army, of your city, of your people, of your realm, etc. So interesting. I don't know how nerdy you are about that type of things, but it's you could just design talents just for the sake of it, just for the if you pick any system and you go wild, yeah, and you can just sit 10,000 lives and still being entertained. I'm telling you. So then, yeah, then the idea was it was crushing. It was a crushing discovery because I had spent 9 months developing the exponential curve and refining a system that would work with crazy target numbers, etc. Designing talents that would sort of like fit where I was at this point. And last November, the scene scale ID came to me, and I was like, "Oh man, this is just I can't pass that. I can't." But if I can't incorporate it, everything else needs to be axed around that. It wasn't just some kind of new part of a system. It was going to be the system, scene scales. That was going to be the spine of the game, apart from the core resolution mechanic, right? This core resolution mechanic is how you resolve challenges at any scale, right? The 4 scale, there are 4 scales: creature, warband, army, titanic, or you have encounters, councils, gatherings, summits. You have forget the other names, because there is a categorization for travel, for social interactions, conflict, endeavors, etc., etc. So I was like in November, I had it. It completely threw me off. The 9 months of development were to be completely revamped. Talking about the game engine, the game mechanic, not the lore. Like I was still working on the lore, but for the following 2 months until the end of January, I was in complete revamp mode. Well, I had to take a long break. I was just hit hard by that idea that changed everything to what I had believed the game should be or what was going to be then. And little by little, so I took a break and I worked on the lore and stuff. But then it was time to rearrange, compose a new engine that would fit the concept of upscaling and descaling, of increasing the stakes behind a die roll or decreasing them. Like I said, like a 1 die roll at an upper scale is the equivalent of an entire scene at the scale below, and 1 die roll of that scale below is yet an entire scene of the scale still yet below that one. So I had to figure out a core solutions and an engine that works that works seamlessly through scales. And I think in the last, March? So November, December, 4 months, I went through 3 different game engines. This one now, the Spike engine, I'll call it. No, shh, they're fighting. Raya. They're fighting. Cats. 2 cats at home. Freya. I have to police the older one, the big sister, a little bit. She was glad when her little sister came. to her world, but he could have a playmate. But now she's being a bit bossy. What was I talking about? So a game engine. Yeah, there was 3 versions since last November. The 2 of them, December and January, February, were even 4, I think. I went so fast through recomposing ideas, trying to make things fit best the scene scale system that I had to discard so many things when I thought, and every time, every discovery I made was like the ultimate answer. This is it. This is this is going to work. At last, I can rest in peace. And a couple of weeks later, a month later, no, this is not that it is crap. It could totally make a game of it on its own, but it's not ideal. It's not good enough, and it's tough. It's amusing and tough at the same time to see that. Voilà, in French we say 100 fois sur le métier. So you could never be sure of something if you've not like repeated and repeated, stress tested. I guess that would be the equivalent. And yeah, so how did I do that? Yeah, there was a whole. Then there was 2 things that's starting to conflict. My difficulty curve, my exponential difficulty curve from +1, +2, +4, +8, +16, +32 was my innocent early attempt at emulating Epic. An epic world, epic game. But this got supplanted by the scene scale system. And they did not pair well, but it took me a while to realize that the two were trying to achieve the same thing. And one was trying to achieve it mechanically, while the other one was trying to sort of like be a help to frame the narrative and the vision at the table. And there was no need for the 2 of them to coexist. All I've realized now is that if we have a system like scene scales that help us zoom out and tell more things with less dice, we don't need anymore a difficulty curve and all sorts of tricks with the dice and the probabilities and layers in the resolution system to sort of like compensate, for a vision that is, because in fact, doesn't matter what is the resolution mechanic. The more I look at it, it's taste. I think it's taste. There is something. Well, it's an engine. It needs to be fluid itself, efficient and stuff. It's more or less universal. Not all game systems are universal. Could work for all settings, but eventually it doesn't really matter. You can just even flip a coin. As long as you have tools on the interface, on the game's interface, that help you define what's the narrative about, how and where is the story told from. So with my exponential curve, I was trying to tell the whole story just with one thing, and that this curve I could not scale as we go up the scale. I needed a system, a core resolution mechanics that was, in fact, a lot more linear, not flat, but linear, predictable, stable, and that would be a lot easier to take that to each scene scale, and up and down, and navigate levels of narrative. because then that the system would be light, low cognitive load, faster, and sort of like it would not interfere or trying to emulate something that was already taken care of by the scene scale system. So and I began to realize that there is something wrong in those versions between December and February, when I tried to identify how the system works, how difficulty are different between one scale to the next. You know, if you are a single warrior face to face, 1v1, if you are a war band, you know, within taking part in a skirmish, or if you are a commander or taking part in a big battle, or if you are an emperor, or you're taking part in a big intercontinental campaign, those type of scalings, right? I was beginning to see that there are aspects of my system that just that require too much tweaking around, finicky little rules, exceptions to the rules, or add an extra system to link two things that are now disconnected. So, and I was enthusiastic about like these little subsystems was like, yes, you know, fascinating, you know, like an alchemist, you know, but eventually that became overloaded. We have a cat. She wants to leave. You want to go? Hey. And there is a I don't know. This is the first game I'm designing, and I believe it's not the first time that I experienced that. You know, when you're an actor, when you're a musician, when you're an artist, painter, whatnot, the devil's in the detail, but it's attractive, right? It's never ending. Like you, and particularly when you're you're in it. You don't have that fresh approach. You just think that everything makes sense, and you're in the pie, sort of like you see everything. Everything is aligned, and so something is not aligned. I need just to pull another string here and then another string here, and then it's a net, quoi. It's a net, and it becomes so intricate. I mean, some simulationist games are pushing the boundaries of that quite far, and I respect that, and that fits their game and their setting. And also, it's a certain type of player, right? It's a certain type of gameplay, you know. But is this like everyone is different, all right? But eventually, can you play that for forever? Is this not tiring? It's that's not what I mean really, but with actually in to recenter with the goal I have for Mon, at the very beginning of the design, I thought my exponential curve would be the answer, like, you know, like a new role, and it's gonna have so much impact and stuff, and that would be epic. But then to make that work, I had to invent so many subsystems. It was, you know, roll a certain number of d12s and d6s, picks the best of each, make the sum, or those that explode, you know, keep the matching numbers and stuff like that. And there was this dynamic difficulty, base difficulty. Then I came up with, I wanted to simplify. So I said, okay, it has, your success margin will become impact, and there will be bands, you know, 1 to 8, 9 to 16, and that would be simplified down to a number of bands, you know, like, and you remove that much damage, you know, many bands from an endeavor, NPC, whatever monster. I mean, the playtesters went along with it. Since early January we started to playtest. We went through this Friday. I'm going to introduce them to the Spike engine. So surprise! I have a new core resolution system again. They would go like every week. It's like, what have you changed? Cannot we just play? And say, but we're playtesting. So yeah, it's I'm very thankful for my playtesters. Very very cool bunch. So anyway, last week was another world. I was on another planet. Now I think last Friday after the last playtesting phase, playtesting session. Arrive home. I'm like, like, okay, session went okay, And I'm like, when I saw their faces, I saw the playtesters' faces, like they had a hard time just coping with the cognitive load, like all these sub-calculations just for one role, just for one little extended task or whatever. There was, I think there was 4 or 5 calculations. It was very granular, very full of possibilities and stuff, very charming, like a beautiful architecture, right? But then that wasn't worth it, right? That was just too much. And I was getting in the way of telling a good story. And that last Friday, so we are Sunday, the week before, that's 2 days ago. Oh man, I feel it's ages ago already, because I yeah, that 2 days ago I just revamped the entire game, and a lot of content. I'm going a lot faster as it goes. It's crazy because I know more and more. I can apply a lot more intention, much clearer intention when I make a decision, and I see what the ripples, where they go, and what subsystem should go down and be shut down, and it's crazy. I created this new engine 2 days ago, and I have the feeling it's been ages already. So the core design problem, I have a couple notes here. Talent. How then we didn't even use talent so far. We've been playtesting for 2 months and just trying to get our heads around the core resolution mechanics. And in fact, I introduced their first talent 2 days ago, which were the species talents for the Amarian. Let's go back on track a bit here. So what I had for them, for the Amarians, our Mons human species, inventive, major, Amarian. So major would mean that it's a talent that would scale up. It would have an impact at creature level, warband level, and army level. Those are just creature, warband, army, just entries, descriptors for like just the scale. Yeah, it can be about a council, it can be about a voyage, it can be all sorts of things. But major would then go to tier 3, right? Basically, the third tier. There are 4 tiers, 4 scene scale tiers. So inventive, which is your classic, humans are, adaptable. But no, there isn't even an adaptive here, so it's not exactly the same. So what did I come up with? Here, a little quote, empty. Prose description, a little prose description of what a talent is meant to represent or do, or maybe, and then the rule itself. So the talent was in really at bare bone stage, no quote. What would like an Amarian say? while he was making use of that talent. And then the effect: gain +1 might per rank in this talent on any level 0 skill check. So I found that interesting because as you know, humans are inventive. They are improvisers. They're able to to come up with creative ideas on the spot, and that's when they are best. In fact, when they don't have the tools, they invent them. So every time you check a skill that is at level 0, but you have you roll extra dice. You roll +1 might. You roll +1 d12. So that would create a dynamic as like, for instance, should I increase my skill levels, or should I bank everything on inventive and pump up the ranks of that talent? Some kind of interesting dynamic here. Then we have so those are all suggestions for Amayan. And quick tongue, witty, minor, Amayan. So minor, that so here with inventive major, we could see that this could have an impact at all the three scales, right? Not the Titanic one, because it works on a different. It's different. You roll your devotion directly. You don't have skills. You don't have attributes at that scale. It's too big. It's continental. It's Titanic. You roll your devotion directly. But at major, it's tier 3, so it's it's regional. You see that you can be inventive at the creature scale level, where you find a stick, flint, and you make fire. You could be inventive at the warband level when you need to find a weak spot in the enemy warband or whatever fortification, and it's just an entrenched village, something local, yeah. Then that talent could come in play. Or at major, tier 3 scene scale, when it comes to crossing an entire range of mountains and looking for a path that offers the least resistance, right? Stuff like that. Anyway, so the second one, quick tongue, is minor. So it would in fact upscale only to tier 2, only to things that are local. It could influence creature level stuff and local warband, council, expedition level stuff. So quote missing. Are we together here? Yeah, you see what I'm. Charming, quick to forgive, quick to make amends, survives thanks to adaptive behavior and compromises, aware of the fragility of their lives compared to tougher life forms. Gain +1 might, so exactly same effect on all charisma checks per rank in this talent. So here I'm thinking, generally speaking, whatever, this talent is what it is, humans, they can find their way around the strange, right? They just put blinders and they just do what's needed, and they adapt, and they find ways to accommodate, to try to it's how do you call when you're trying to minimize casualties, damage control. Because they're fragile, right? They're compared to other species in the game. I don't want to make certain playable species a lot more tougher, than humans or whatnot. I want every species to have their own sort of like taste, and feel. But I still want to maintain some kind of balance, I don't want the game to become about that. It's about all forms of misunderstandings and inequality and division and all sorts of but the mechanics, the base, sort of like the statistics, the characteristics should not really take you far from each other. So we still play the same game, you know. Because here we're looking at species talents, right? Species talents. So how do you design species talents that make sense on the long run or over the course of an entire campaign? How many talents per species do you want? And how is that talent situated? How do you design it compared to an ancestry talents? And ancestry are on the genealogical tree. You know, you have species and ancestry below, right? You have the Amayans and 6. Well, here, no, in fact, there is the 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. 11 human Amayan ancestries. So, do I need 3 species talents? Can I, with 3 species talent, keep seeing things interesting for those talents while not conflicting, you know, finding myself in conflict with ancestry talents? And one of the questions of design I have at the moment as a developer is, should I start to design talents from the bottom up or top down? Should I start to design talent? You tell me. Is there anyone watching? I didn't even. Yeah, current viewers 0. Yeah, doesn't matter. Never mind. 4 views. This is good. Never mind. It's gonna go in the annals of history. Do you design talents top down or bottom up? To try and minimize this, finding yourself on the way with talents that sort of like are different levels of the tree, you know, but kind of like do the same thing. Even if the fluff is different, mechanically it amounts to the same thing. And I don't know. I guess I'll go from every angle. We'll see. I did for the Golog, for instance, our Neanderthal people in Mon. We have Born Hunter. So again, a major talent. Let's go back to Amayan and see. Look, we had major inventive, minor quick tongue, general adaptive. Well, but it's a bit of an exception. I don't want to talk about this one. It's a bit messy. I don't like it. Hopeful, general one. At the beginning of a session of play, gain 1 extra willpower per rank in this talent up to your willpower maximum rating. So I want by default at the beginning of a session everyone to gain 1 willpower, sort of like to fuel up, in case they were depleted or whatnot, or there was no subsystem in place to help maintain willpower balance, whatever. For now, I'll keep that rule, but we'll see where it goes, possibly. So, to that point, +1 willpower at the beginning of every session. And with that talent, you gain 1 extra per rank in this talent. So, I made it a general, which means that it's supposed to be a creature, sort of like creature sphere sort of stuff. It affects only you. It has no impact on the world or broader spheres of influence. It's not exactly the best example of a general talent, but you get the idea. Golog, Born Hunter. So Golog were native of Mon, are native of Mon. They are the children of Mon. These populations of Neanderthal people, the Golog, they were there. They were always there. At least they think. They were just 1 man and 1 woman, Gol and Log, and when they united, their people became the Golog. And then the dinosaurs were implanted, and seed pods were landed on the planet by extraterrestrial beings, and then the dinosaurs completely revolutionized the ecosystem of the planet. They are annihilated in 90% of the mammals, and started to rule the world. The Golog had to cope with that. But the whole story, they didn't come along. There was a shepherd of those extraterrestrial guys, Ao, and in fact she didn't like the way, because those dinosaurs were sent to populate a planet and then to be hunted down for sport by those extraterrestrials, bored and immortal, and so that was their sport, and hunting dinosaurs on exotic planets for the fun of it. And they sent a shepherd, Ao, with that with that wave, and so she could take care of just making things ready for when the sportsmen arrive, centuries later. But in fact, she didn't like that at all. She turned on them, and she helped the Golog understand what was going on. She taught them shamanism, and she opened their eyes on the spirit world and stuff. And yeah, lots of stories after that. So anyway, Golog are these Neanderthal, are tough, stocky, humans. So a talent for them is Born Hunter, a major one. So it would scale up to the tier 3. Gain 1 might. So again, no, it's in the making. I need a quote. I need a prose description. Gain 1 might per rank in this talent to all checks related to tracking game prey targets in the wild. So in the wild only, yeah. I guess it makes sense. So how long have we been running? How long are we online? I don't know. It's going to be an hour 45, yeah. I'll let you go soon, but just to make I'll wrap it up and introduce the new engine quickly after that, before wrapping up. There is, so it's fine, Born Hunter, gain +1 might. So what does that do? It adds dice, right? It's adding noise, basically. It makes something more probable. And that's all. It makes something more probable by giving you more mathematical sort of like work, So is this? If the game was small in scope, if the game was like a mini game, and you'd had like three characters available, and each and all of them with just 1 to 3 talents, this would kind of make sense. But imagine if you have like 9 talents like that, and some of them give you +1, some of them, 2, 3 of them maybe are piling on each other's effects. Every time you have to remember. As always, anyway, you introduce talents. You want talents in your game. You have to find ways to make that talent usable, right, and useful, but usable. And how many talents max do you want to allow players to use? When does the end game comes? I was looking at advancement and progression. And there are various lengths available, like how fast do you want to go to top level? How many XPs do you need to reach that level? How much story can happen within that time frame? How much do you want the experience to be? How replayable do you want this game to be? All sorts of questions that come, and they interface with each other on so many levels. It's incredible. So you see this, the second one, native minor Golog. So this one would sort of like scale to at creature scale, then the warband scale, the local. You're a native, so you have an I don't know how could that scale at. Natural resistance to poison and disease, +1 might per rank in this talent when checking toughness plus survival to resist the effect of a natural poison, toxin, or disease. So, same effect, add 1 die, increase the chances of succeeding a very specific check against a specific threat. How would that scale at, I don't know, because I kind of feel, maybe you could, I don't know, because this is not like prepare antidotes. Maybe you'd be so good that you could make such quantities of antidote that you could feed an entire village with it. Then that I wouldn't, anyway, we don't even need scene scares to do that. But scene scares are not about what you do, but at what, where's the camera when you do it? You know, and does this really have an impact on the story at the scale at which you're telling the story at this point? So scene scares are not really there, but they're as well somewhat scaled with your power. So the higher the scale, as well, the higher your power, and the more things you move and you have a grasp on. It's not like you are at the highest scale and you roll 1 die to determine if you become the king. After 30 years of hardship, roll once. We can tell the whole story for ourselves until that this is the moment where you got a roll. Did you make it? Yeah. There is more. There needs to be more granularity in the way. That's why there are 4 scales, right? But more on that again. More on that again later. I think I'll do another stream, possibly next week after we test. Next Friday, we will test. It's St. Patrick's Day here in Ireland. This Tuesday, is it? Or was it past? Was it yesterday? Whatever. Oh no, it's on the 17th. So yeah, it's Tuesday. I'll do a stream on the Spike engine, the new engine, the new game engine, soon. I don't want to bother you with too much stuff. There is so many cultures. You see the Zamayan, they have the Lulail, the Elkin, the Golog, the followers of Wotan, the daughter of Alpha. So many good stuff to talk about. Eventually, there will be when Alpha. Well, eventually, the big public pre-beta will start in 27 September. So I don't think I will release a lot of official stuff publicly before that. Stuff will come out and teasers here and there. But I really want to make sure that the alpha pretest, the closed alpha pretest, is done well. So what comes out publicly is somewhat stable, right? I don't want to change everything again. Just obviously not 6 months pre-release, but you know what I mean. So, right. Yeah, we have the class talents, but I talked about those dynamics. How do you design? Do you design talents top down or bottom up? Because the big thing where I'm at now and where I want to, I think, conclude this stream is what I'm dealing with at the moment is that maybe that because I'm designing nonstop and I'm saturating, I don't know, but the more I go, the more I want to streamline, go light. I love both directions. I have nothing against crunchy games. I'm a gamer, and I all sorts of stuff interests me. But here, I think now I want talents to be generative of story. I want talents to help tell the story, not so much help you go through obstacles and be a deadlier machine, but talents that tell something about the way they are triggered and why you specifically have them. So I want talents that are narratively based more than mechanically based. I think it's 60-40 or 70% narrative, 30% mechanically. Like in sort of like the importance of the when you look at it from a design perspective. So, because I think that the lighter the mechanic about the rule of that thing, the easier it's going to scale with the scene scale system, right? Because the less sort of like, and also and with spells as well, with magic spells, I want to do that. I want to give a lot of imaginative freedom to players, so they have level 1. There's sort of like a generic sort of effect. Whatever you come up with, it's mechanically sort of like streamlined. It's the same thing. It's a level 1 spell, but your level 1 spell is anything you want to imagine. If you have level 1 spell water, we give guidelines, we give the context, we give we'll see how that works. But there are cool ideas in Mage, the Ascension, games like that, where it's up to you to figure out what that magic is about. So I would like talents to be a bit like that. I think, that they do stuff, particularly when you have to imagine what they do at a scale above, narratives at higher narrative scales. It's I think you can't, and it would be detrimental to try and describe what they do at every scale and how the effect is translated and stuff. You want to leave that to the table. I think the better design here is to try and to do a system that is agile in that way, right? Minimal and agile. So that's it. That's where we are at now. Loads of it's exciting. I hope if anyone just watches any of this to this point at any time in the history of humanity, that there will be some informational, educational, entertaining, you name it. So next stream we'll talk about the new game engine for Mon RPG. I thank you all for listening. I will see you on the next one. Hit the like and the subscribe. Join the Discord. Join the Patreon to help support us to hire good artists to do the music and the illustration for the book. I wish you all the best and talk soon. Thank you.